afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, amazing Propagandacast. Me, your host, Perils, Master Propaganda, hero, psych defender of the fatherland. Off here to riveting a 1 vs 1 on Vilshanka. In the West, it's Preacherman fighting for America, freedom, democracy. The first armored division tasked with breaking through the Nazi lines under the command here of the Thetaxman. Fighting for the Oberkommando West, Germany, Deutschland. Forming up here the elite 2nd SS Panzerdivision, Das Reich. With Volkskommunistische Sturmpanzer, we got a Kuhlwagen away for Thetaxman. We got Armour 4, Preacherman with assault units immediately being rapidly deployed here in an attempt to break through the German lines. Thetaxman here with breakthrough. Luftwaffe ground forces and fortifications in reserve, thus able to actually, in most cases, exert some kind of defensive strategy when it becomes necessary. Kuhlwagen on the way here for Thetaxman. Southern point being scoped by the Sturmpioneers. Volkskommunistische seizing the cut-off point here. Valiantly for the fatherland. Resistance there securing the central victory point there. The assault units are swiftly moving out to secure the cut-off point as riflemen are hard on the fuel point. First shots continue to be fired here by the resistance as then one carbine saying out against the Volkskommunistische. Shots being blasted away, mostly in vain. Kuhlwagen around here is going to allow Thetaxman to help grab more territory early on in the early game, since A, of course, moves fast between the points, which already helps a bit, but it also seizes points faster. So, in that regard, a Kuhlwagen can just allow an Oberkommando player to seize a lot more territory, and of course, can fight fast support for any troops. In this case, they're being gunned down rapidly. Assault units moving in, he's going to have to quickly deal with them. Kuhlwagen can provide some fast support, but lightly's going to have to retreat here. There we go. Good response there by Thetaxman. Now the Fult's going to just on the way there. Preacherman with more riflemen for America, freedom, democracy. Right now the Kuhlwagen's left to defend the cut-off on there as Preacherman is unrelentingly pushing towards it. Kuhlwagen's doing it counter-stall to buy time for other forces from Thetaxman here to defend the cut-off point. Sturmpioneers inbound, second Fult's got done. First one being reinforced. There you go. Heavy fire bearing down the assault units. Kuhlwagen Sturmpioneers doing at the camp, they're being heavily focused down. Assault units are forced back now. Sturmpioneers pay quite the price in blood and, corpses to achieve that one. Riflemen taking heavy damage as Thetaxman can lay down heavy fire here with the Kuhlwagen gaining 3 kills, closing in veterans 1. Will need some repairs. Nonetheless, Preacherman is leading with an aggressive start here versus Thetaxman. And Thetaxman's going to have to work a bit here to regain some of that lost momentum. Sturmpioneers reinforcing, Kuhlwagen being repaired, more folks on the way there. In this regard, Thetaxman prioritises getting more infantry out in the field rather than getting the Sturmpioneers immediately reinforced fast enough. Shots being fired back and forth across here. Rifle next trying to close in here, cross negative cover, bit of a bold move here. 2 more infantry nearby. A bit there by Preacherman, that did not work out. In fact, allowed Thetaxman in this case to mostly beat them with a minimal casualties. So good work there for Thetaxman. Sturmpioneers almost reinforced. Kuhlwagen not even fully repaired, is being sent northwards. There could have been a misclick there by Thetaxman, or there might have been something else going on. In the south, the Russians sneaking about, not going to head towards the centre where all those nasty Germans with all their nasty rifles are. Sturmpioneers saying northwards as well. Minesprue kits on the way there, all to help with repair. We'll have to see if Preacherman actually lays down mines. He does have the option here with the assault units. Some players will lay down mines, most will not. Sandbags up here on the other side of the barbed wire, obviously. Rifle and assault units moving in. Folks are almost done with the sandbags, but will have to retreat here. They will not be able to hold ground. There we go. Good retreat there by Thetaxman. Kuhlwagen now being fixed up, or at least attempted fixed up. Southern fuel point being seized by the resistance. Harassing there going on. Very good. Very good. Truck out for Thetaxman. I'm guessing battle group headquarters, but it could be mechanized. It could be mechanized. I cannot rule that out. And it is battle group headquarters here for Thetaxman for Germany. Kuhlwagen then moving about. They're still zipping about, preventing the Sturmpioneers from even repairing it. Probably because he figured he's going to be attacked here soon enough, and exactly that's what happens. Up north, folks, has returned the favour here to Preacherman's fuel point. Southern ones have almost been seized by Preacherman already, and looks like Thetaxman is no rush to deal with that, actually. Sturmpioneers, Kuhlwagen, Volkskommunistische all converging here on the assault units, which Preacherman had rather far out from the rest of his forces, leaving them a bit easy to target. Still, they're doing quite good there with the Reese guns. Skirmishes in the south here, Volkskommunistische versus Rifleman. Could probably incendiary grenade to have a better chance up close versus the Rifleman. The Brandhand grenade right about there should probably help the engagement. Up north there, Volkskommunistische being rushed by the Lieutenant, which Preacherman has taken for. Sturmpioneers causing heavy casualties for the Rifleman. Assault units could be next to with the Kuhlwagen backing up, and there you go, veterans run on the Kuhlwagen. Lots of Preacherman's forces dispatched, but nonetheless, Thetaxman is being denied fuel, and that does mean Preacherman could pull ahead here of Thetaxman in terms of resources and give, Thetaxman a really bad time. Battle group headquarters on the way there. Well, up. Ambulance on the way there for Preacherman. Full gun of reservations here by the car front. Up north, Sturmpioneers continuing the fight for the fatherland. 6 kills. Slowly approaching Mechanized 2, popping into the church here. Cutting them down there with well-aimed assault rifle fire. Kuban's going to need some serious repairs again. MG34 on the way here for Thetaxman to help deal with all of Preacherman's infantry. And they'll be placing their gut Sturmpioneers. Actually managed to push back the lieutenant here. Really close for Thetaxman. Really close. Medics on the way there. Trying to grab back here, but apparently misclicked. Or the full squad's just moved out on the other side. Assault rifles on the way there for some of the full grenadiers. MG34 moving ahead. Need to grab the point here. More assault rifles there. Sturmpioneers reinforcing, getting healed, repairing that Kugelwagen. Southern fuel being seized. Preacherman is definitely getting a lead, and he has in fact gone for the Mechanized command upgrade, meaning he could go for Stuart light tanks, likely will. Folks on the south here being overwhelmed by American troops from Preacherman, seizing the southern fuel point here. Kugelwagen good to go. Sturmpioneers also good to go. Should allow Thetaxman to get a bit more back in the fight here versus Preacherman. Center victory point seized. Victory points wise. It's pretty close with a small lead here for Thetaxman over Preacherman actually. Flamethrowers up there in Preacherman's assault units. He can go for the Stuart light tank very soon. He's got the fuel. He just needs some manpower. And we got like Cadmeth on the way there for Thetaxman. He is obviously expecting his Stuart light tank from his opponent. Quick assault here on the rifleman, using the house is a good fighting position. The rifleman are caught in a pretty bad spot. He can crossfire in fact, and there you go. Preacherman realised the situation is pretty much not winnable and has to retreat up in the centre. We got MD34 with Sturmpioneer support, but a full squad there. Bait the dust getting entirely wiped. They're pretty bad there for Thetaxman. Too slow to retreat. A definite win for Preacherman. Sturmpioneer is getting ready to, but they could go down here with the lieutenant as well, which would be quite unpleasant there for Thetaxman, to put it mildly. In the south, variations routed by the full grenadiers. Up north, assault units continue to do harm there in terms of victory points. And back here, troops are good to go. Stuart light tank is in fact now ramming here for Preacherman. Nice little mine there. Machine gun being flanked here. Nice flank by Preacherman. Very good work. Stuart light tank on the way there. Oh, he has to retreat that one. I think he's trying to bait it into the mine, but this did not work out at all there for Thetaxman. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. If he just had a really bad idea, but he thought it was the best idea in the world, or just a misclick or something else. Either way, that machine gun got handed over to Preacherman. And no matter the intent, no matter the purpose, that's really bad. So that's quite unfortunate there for Thetaxman. Even the best makes mistakes, even the best. That's a really awkward one. And now Preacherman's going to double down with another 50 caliber. Thetaxman's going to go for another MG54 because he obviously wants machine gun versus the Americans, since machine guns tend to be quite crucial in dealing with them. And the tank rifle grenade there against the Kugelwagen, it's going to go down. Oh, doesn't. Really close, otherwise Thetaxman's got decent control of the map here, so that's good. Fortifications is approaching with T2 Kugelwagen, they're hauling its carriage all the way back here. Thetaxman can soon consider taking out Wakena, pulling back southwards. Preacherman moving out for them. He needs to be a bit more aggressive in some ways, probably put more pressure in the north. And of course in this regard the machine guns will be of quite great help, since it's going to make it harder for Thetaxman to attack, but also at certain times to defend, depending on how well Preacherman makes use of the machine guns. Also worth noting, crewed with assault units, that's going to be tricky there if he gets too close, since the assault units with the increased guns, they can of course defend the machine gun quite well. Second midfield, MG34 holding up. Preacherman's push there for the curve point, nice work. Assault machine gun sitting out there. We got the 5th Company northwards to grab the victory point there. Kugelwagen fixed once more. In the south, Fulton is a bit forgotten there by Thetaxman for the time being, noting no doctrine yet here for Thetaxman. Nothing further out here. Kugelwagen straight to the 50 caliber. Scheiße, Otto, we must get out of here. I said out of here, not further into it. And that was quite unpleasant there for Thetaxman. That's a Kugelwagen gone entirely. Quite unpleasant. I guess he misjudged the situation. That can happen. Fulton was rifling in the south by the munitions point. Preacherman, of course, not going to allow him to get that one easily. Still upon is the someone managed to make. Did he get close here and might even use the cool Wagner's cover there to get close enough, since it does provide a bit of line of sight blockage once begins burning. Any vehicle does that. Maybe that was Taxman's plan, if there was a plan. Either way, he managed to almost take out the 50 car, which of course would have been great, but now he's being caught there salvaging. Oh dear, he's about to lose the assault engineers. That would definitely negate anything there. I mean, he did get a bit of extra fuel, but he's still not taking up. He got the infantry rotating who in an attempt to cross the road here by Preacherman in the centre south. More Fulton leaders out here for Taxman. Still no doctrine. Preacherman certainly on the offensive, also noting he's going for the Major, meaning he can begin pushing for Armour, which is certainly not going to make things easy for Thetaxman, who's got no armor and only a single cannon there for to stop said armor. Lots of assault rifles there for the Fultgundies. Riflemen turning up here, trying to defend the fuel pump. We got Bunhunt Grenade off here in the midst of them, trying to burn them up, make it a bit harder for them to fight around it. Riflemen almost being taken out, MD for opening up here. Veterans who won. Oh, not one kill actually, not veterans who won. Slight misfire there in my brain. Stuart Parties are making out maneuver the machine gun up north here. Fac in placement, defending here against any harassment attempts there. Machine gun routed in the centre. Situation's looking rather dicey here for Taxman and for the 2nd SS Panzer Division. Preacherman, an interesting move, goes for a Scott. You'd figure he'd go for a Sherman here, but he does decide to go for the Scott for more artillery support faster. We'll have to see how that works out. Definitely not what I would anticipate. I would have figured a Sherman or something like that, but the Scott rush certainly seems a bit unprecedented. Try on the way, the Taxman, he's finally going to take up about damn time. In the south, the Major needs to, I think, make a major retreat soon before the folks going to risk ending them. Half drag out there, schwerer Wehrmacht-Schlepper. MD for opening up the rear slons, actually firing slightly outside of its arc of fire. That's always awkward when that happens. When you're on the receiving end, obviously if you're the one where your machine gun is firing outside of fire, it's kind of nice. But if you're on the receiving end, it is kind of awkward. Fulton is in each retreat. We'll have to see what's going to set up the sharp punch of quarters, though I'd probably guess around somewhere here to defend the fuel point, maybe the car point a bit as well. Scott moving forward to support the infantry, which is rather its role as mentioned to work with the steward sort of as an infantry support vehicle. Fulton's going to scored white, highlighting the sheer lethality of the Scott, which can really do a lot of damage if you're not careful, as it has a pretty good chance of wiping units in a poor condition. In fact, 2 of them can very consistently wipe infantry. So right now, Taxman is under some serious pressure to get out of tank fast enough, because the Panther Force is going to probably be his best bet in putting an end to this tiny menace. Back here, healing enforcement, fuel pump being seized again. He's close to the Panther 4 in terms of fuel, but the fuel point being cut off is going to delay that somewhat. Truck up there. Fulton's moving in to reclaim it for Germany, and the Asmegi there is of course forced to move in another direction. Back here, healing reinforcement back at Preacherman's base, same thing going on. Weapon racks flying on the way. They've got plenty of munitions out, some bars and maybe some bazookas. Actually called in the machine. Oh, on the victory point or fuel point. Clever there. Taxman that takes it in stride, just moves it for the fuel point, then leaving something else, or for munitions and victory points, leaving someone else to seize it once the barrage is over there. Taxman in this case favouring efficiency rather than, sentimentally sticking about for a point. There we go, Panther on the way there for Taxman. That's going to leave Preacherman and his Scott there perhaps a bit undergunned, in particular considering he has no anti-tank weapon. So Preacherman here might have gotten a bit overconfident versus Taxman. He just made a bad judgment call. Hard to say. Out of the way though. Panzerkampfwagenführer roughly halfway down there for Taxman. Rifle assault is being going for the calf punch. John Pan is nearby to defend. Very close to veteran 3. Very good. Fulton being caught out in the open by the rifle with lots of bars. That's going to be quite painful here. Small chance of a wipe here, depending on how the DPS works out. Sturmpanzer need to retreat by eventually 3, about to get wiped out, which would of course be quite unpleasant. Fulton moving up here to provide carrying fire. Nice work there by Thetaxman up north, machine gun under fire as well there into the other MG34. Panther 4 goes out here for Thetaxman and for the second SS Panzer Division. That's going to give Preacherman and the first Armoured a bit of a headache. Since again, not a single bazooka and no tanks. So it will be interesting to see here what exactly is going to happen. Scott looking to get to a safer spot. Panther 4's charging straight at the base. I think I know what he's planning for. He's going to try and take out the ambulance. The soldier's almost crashed in there. Got ambulance down. A straight base raid here by Thetaxman. Looking to put a bit of psychological pressure on Preacherman. And of course hurt his economy, since the ambulance is, kind of crucial. But in terms of manpower, with the bullets, it's kind of expensive. M10 tanks on the way there for Preacherman to help deal with the Panther 4. Scott is drawing about there. Panther 4's looking for more prey with which to end. Oh dear, machine caught in a bad spot. He could get wiped out. Nasty hit, but not quite, not quite. And the south here, Fulton is being drive-byed by the Scott. 5th car over there. Oh, machine being routed here by the Panther 4. 5 kills, very good. Center victory point being seized. Southern points being harassed. Like Kedner for waiting. We got the M10 tank destroyer almost done there for Preacherman and the 1st Armored Division. Panther 4 moving in, and there you go. Slaughters to several riflemen with machine gun and main gun fire. We turn the next one to suffer the wrath of the Panzerkampfwagen 4, Model J, which was the last model of Panther 4 before the war was over. Had many measures to speed up production and make it cheaper. M10 engaging the Panther 4 here, tripling for the center victory point again. Victory points wise. It's now Preacherman with a massive lead over Thetaxman. Preacherman, of course, is going to need another ambulance down the road. There you go, Lieutenant Tank, nasty hit. Panther 4 gaining veterans 1. M10 goes for it with its 76mm gun, or 3-inch gun specifically. Kenner lands a nice hit on the M10. Preacherman needs to be careful, another hit on the Panther 4. And he's blitzing the which, by the way, does not only just make the Panther 4 faster, it makes it shoot faster. And there you go, hits a mine as well, rather running that bit of surprise there. 2 firing down the southern fuel point. Panther 4 need repairs, close to Vestige 2 already. Good stuff there for Thetaxman, but kind of rough for Preacher, though another Fulton Noodle squad bit the dust, and Thetaxman is going for orbital done to compensate. Gonna need to fix up that Panther 4 Schnell. Ambulance halfway done there for Preacherman. Troops sitting out here. MG34 hanging about here. Ambulance almost done. That's going to help heal up his troops again. I'd love to see if Thetaxman tries to make another run at it. I mean, that'd be suddenly annoying for Preacherman if he keeps losing ambulances. Still, he's got good map control to make another push here. He's going to try and keep as much pressure on Thetaxman, make it harder for Thetaxman to safely build up a force that could threaten Preacherman. And another machine head goes down. Staggering loss here for Thetaxman and for the second SS. Orbison then getting blasted. Panther 4 doing what he can. 10 kills, close to 22. Orbison being added with machine gun, but need to retreat soon. Sturm Pioneers backing up the Panzerkampfwagen 4. There we go. 12 kills, 22 increased accuracy. Major Lieutenant on the run up north. Victor won't be caught. We got the rifleman in there. 20 kills already. Thetaxman's forces are in a horrid state. Panther 4's going for it, it seems. 177 versus 402. Machine gun then needs to retreat soon before the Panther 4 ends it. Shot fire at the Scott didn't quite land. Oh, he could take out the machine gun here. Will take out the machine gun. Too slow there. Preacherman could be seized back here, but Thetaxman alongside the one here. Scott, they're taking us hit from the Panther 4. Preacherman's lack of anti-tank weapons has proved to be a bit of a formidable gap in his forces. And we're going to see another ambulance taken down by the Panther 4, I think. Or not. Nope, he's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. There's a lot of bazookas there, though. Preacherman has finally reached out for the bazooka to try and deal with it. Still, he loses another ambulance. Actually, some heavy casualties there for Preacherman. Ambulance is down, Scott down, and the machine gun down. He might be able to take out the Panzer IV, which is low in health now, and there's a lot of bazookas pursuing it. But nonetheless, he lost a lot to that Panzer IV. That's never been a good Panzer IV for Thetaxman. Not just the infantry chaos course, but again, there's vehicle kills. German infantry doing the hands back it up, also on doing the hands well, and there you go. Panzer IV explodes, but Thetaxman is not far off from another one. But he probably really should look into grabbing some of those machine guns to help deal with infantry. Preacherman going for a Sherman now. Definitely a good idea. 137 versus 402. Going for the MG-34, was moving in to back up here with an LMG-34 back here. Troops in reinforcing for Thetaxman. Sturm Pioneers at Veteran 4, that's very good for them. Big push here by Preacherman. Lieutenant dashing out the rest of the forces. The Orbitals are doing what they can from behind the cover. 5 kills closing in on Veterans 1 and 6 kills. There we go. And there you go. Preacherman's going to try and take him out with artillery. Troops are healing and forcing, going for the southern victory point. Panzer IV on the way there for Thetaxman. Artillery caused more or less doing no damage here to Preacherman. Since it's his own artillery, and most of the allies tend not to have any friendly fire on their artillery, by the way. Troops are almost good to go. Sturm Pioneers very close. They just need one more man to be able to fight effectively again versus the enemy. Orbital Guard need to retreat soon. Down to just 2 health. Well, 2 men and a sliver of health. Of course, now we got the Sherman up, we got the Panzer almost ready up. North Falconiers charging in there versus the Major and the Assault Engineers, and are swiftly dispatched. Machine gun still about, Panzer IV's about to hit. The situation with Thetaxman is 10 years here versus Preacherman, 129 versus 393. Machine gun sitting up, and there you go, Panzer IV out. But Ken lands a nice hit on the Sherman up close. Trap Hunter Quarters fires a single shot which bounces off the rear armor. Panzer IV sitting out. Pinmark machine gun on the way, like kidding me, I forgot, wiped out. Direct hit here on the Sherman. Another shot fired, missed. Smoking off. Try and cover up the retreat. Bazooka team going up to cover the flank of the Sherman. Nice work. Trying to maneuver here. Thetaxman. Oh, saw through it, but still failed to penetrate the Sherman's frontal armor. Bit of a bad spot here for the Panther, which has to retreat. Northern victory point being fought over again, this time with a bit of a larger force for Thetaxman. You really should grab that other machine if you can. Central victory point seized here for the fatherland. M10 tanks on the way for Preacherman. Intense action going on there. Go Lieutenant charging forwards. Also a big thanks to Henrik for donating and supporting the Propagandacast. Big thanks to you. You are part of my company of heroes. Orbitals moving in there, closing on the victory. 2 Lieutenant there being blasted. Machine is about to go down. Oh dear, again. Bad news there for Thetaxman again. Second time he's lost that MG-34 there to the enemy. And could be second time Preacherman then loses it to Thetaxman. S-Mine's being laid down. We got Fortifications finally here for Thetaxman. More full these, and you know, maybe grab some of those machine guns, but make it much easier to defend against all Preacherman's infantry. M-Tank, the tank destroyer number 2 ready for Preacherman and the 1st Armoured Division. First fun fact, American tank destroyer doctrine pretty much had them only work as defensive weapons, and as you know, meant to deal with German attacks, but they did see uses there sort of support during attacks as well. In fact, they were occasionally used as tanks directly, which was actually taking off American high command quite a bit, so much that right before the Ardennes attack, they pretty much just removed half of all tank destroyers from the tank destroyer battalions and replaced them with anti-tank guns, with predictable results. Up north, the infantry was the major sort of hit, set off a few mines. Mines being attempted here, machine gun there, looks like it's going to be grabbed as well by Thetaxman, putting up to 2 machine guns, very good for him. Another push for the centre by Preacherman. Got the M10 moving ahead here. Shell moving up as well. 1 Panther was these 2 beasts. Could be a bit of a problem there for Thetaxman. Direct hit on the M10, which was not wildly well armoured. No, they had initially actually thought about installing the same gun as the M10 Wolverine on the Sherman tanks, but the problem was initially the Shermans did not have big enough turrets to fit it in. And if they had tried, they'd gotten, well, a lot less accurate, because then again, there would not been enough room for the crew to fire it properly. Ambulance on the way there for Preacherman. Firing in the south here, 50 cover coming out the southern victory point. And there you go, that's the third ambulance for Preacherman. Third ambulance. Not every day you see in a battle with 3 ambulances in it. I doubt the Thetaxman can push it to a 4th one, though. That would be a bit amusing. 90 points left here for Thetaxman versus Preacherman's 379. Panther good to go. Troops setting out. Will there be more assault rifles for the Volkskandidates? Yes, indeed, there will. You could also consider laying down machine gun bunkers, or even try flag emplacements, I guess, though. I suspect at this stage he rather wants to go for more Panzer Force, and of course in this regard the flag emplacements do require fuel, which I think is sort of one of the main reasons why most people tend to go for them, even when they're buffed, because they cost fuel. Sherman also taking out the Volkskandidates, high explosive rounds ready, and we could see a wipe here. There we go. Thetaxman suffering a bit of a blow. Machine coming up in the north here. Big push here by Preacherman. Big massive push here. Infantry backed up by a tank. No tanks are on site. The folks are being slaughtered by Preacherman's horde. Almost getting a full wipe. Oh, did get the wipe there. In the south, Panther was engaging the tank destroyer head on. 50 caliber backing up, but that's not going to help. They've got Volkskandidates squeezing away and infantry might back up. And there go another hit from the Panther 4 on the M10 tank destroyer. Up north here, MD-34 is going to be taken out here by the Sherman. Not good there for Thetaxman. Heavy casualties piling up. He also retreating here. Oh, he should be retreating soon. Machine gun down, crushed inside the house. Nice work there by Thetaxman. They did lose the north, and the machine gun hit to Preacherman again. He keeps losing machine guns, to be honest. Another Panther falling over for Thetaxman. Major straight into the Volkskandidates. That's going to be a major bleeding. Troops pinned down here by the MG-34s. Panther 4 on the way. Need to fix it up. We got lots of mines being laid down here by Thetaxman to make it hard for his opponent to rush the victory points. Good work. Bazooka fire and 10.5 Fate to Veteran 2-1. Great hit, there you go. Victory 2 on the Panther 4. Shot fired. Shot bounced. Directed in the Panther on the Sherman. Troops in reinforcing another Panther almost done the Thetaxman rather than being blasted to death in the open. No mercy. Second Panther already. That's 2 Panther 4 versus an opponent with not enough sufficient armor, I say. Well, he's got a tank on tank, but so far it's not been able to handle them quite sufficiently to deal with Thetaxman's tanks, so we'll have to see what it ends up with. Right by the southern victory point are suffering due to the mine and of course the arrival of another Panzer. And the Major goes down, a major blow there to Preacherman. He's struggling here to keep up with Thetaxman's return here. His infantry complement is also drastically dwindling in the face of Thetaxman's armoured assaults. M10 getting blasted by the Panther 4s. Moving up. Panther 4 by the way very close to veteran defeat. Assault units could be the next victim of the Panther 4s. Shooting, hammering away, but luckily for Preacherman, not quite hitting any targets. Right now, they're getting blasted with the Panther 4s. Got the Sherman going in. M10 opening up as well. Almost lost the Panther 4 here, but not quite, not quite. Back here, troops healing and enforcing. Focusing on the assault engineers. Shots fired. Veterans 1 gained. 90 versus 327, showing they're gaining veteranry 2. Heading over on the way for Thetaxman to back up his stuff. Then another tank destroyer, this time on the M36 Jackson here for Preacherman. Up north, Lieutenant going here for the Orbital Dart, closing in veteranry 3 there. Thetaxman's infantry complement, though, still looking a bit shaky, but they are veteran for the most part. Sturm Pioneers with the bazooka, they managed to kill from dead Yankees. Orbital slowly approaching Metro 4-1, Panther holding dispatch northwards, the one's being fixed up. Tank still halfway down, others being fixed up here. Ambulance for now is safe. For now. Angel statue there shattered by the Panther Force shot. Tank destroyers, tanks lining up, infantry there. Looks like he's going to push hard here against Thetaxman. Rather than take an absolutely shattering hit here from the Panther 4, almost annihilating a single unit with a single blow. And there you go, veteran free on the Panther 4, increased rate of fire mobility. Definitely a problem there for Preacherman. Armour pops some matrix runs from the tank, short to have a better chance of dealing with the Panther 4 from the front. Jackson's moving up, there you go, direct hit here on it. Tank destroyers falling back, but not fast enough, not fast enough. Panther 4 down, Sherman though bites the dust. On the other hand, he might be able to take out the Panther over the M10 and the Jacksons. Down to half health here. Still, he got the veteran free Panther 4, which is probably the biggest win there for Preacherman. And again, that thing is lethal. High rate of fire, high mobility, and high accuracy makes a veteran free Panther 4 from the Orbital Commander vessel is very nasty. I mean, obviously, the veteran free Panther 4 from the Valmont is also pretty nasty, but the Orbital Commander vessel is just a tad better because it doesn't have to spend a level of veterancy on gaining armoured skirts. It's already top armoured up, but again, instead gets an accuracy bonus, which really makes it much meaner. Plus, slightly better blitzkrieg as well, I would say, with the increased rate of fire there when it moves. Panther 4 there being slowly fixed up. Fult's Grenadiers being routed. Closing in veteran forward with the Obersoldaten. Shots fired. Directly on the Panther 4. Mine goes off. Oh, that Panther 4 again is just doing horrific work then, Preacherman's infantry. Of course, at the same time, he's attacking across a very narrow front, so trying to make a broader front assault, which would be much harder for Thetaxman to easily stop. He's just pushing everything across, this sort of small, narrow space, usually a less efficient type of assault. Of course, it's also much easier for, a lot of players to manage, and isn't likely what Preacherman is aiming for, something that's easy to manage. Sturm Panther Bazooka doing with Panther 4 that goes down, leaving Thetaxman now without a single Panzer, whereas his opponent still has, several tank destroyers. But obviously, no more tanks to deal with. Of course, they always follow up with more anti-infantry specific stuff. We got the Scot on the way there for Preacherman again, which could leave Thetaxman in a very bad spot. Now there's going to be two veteran tank destroyers to guard the Scot, and Thetaxman's going to have no easy way of stopping it. So he's going to have to make some sort of decision to how he wants to deal with it. He could go for the Panther, though again, M10 plus Jackson's going to be difficult there for the Panther to deal with, just in terms of real fire. Yak Panzer might be the better choice, but even that's going to struggle a bit. King Tiger, I would say, is out of the way. Pack 43? Oh, there's the Pack 43 I'm going for here. The Panzer up there, Kanone. Diamond 40. Not the biggest anti-tank guns the German had. That would be the Pack 44, which had the same gun as the, Yak Tiger. This was the same gun as, say, the Yak Panther and the King Tiger. Fun fact, there was actually a field cannon version of the Pack 43, which could also then double as artillery. Fun note there. Also on there with the veteran 4, 29 kills, and we got a Panther on those to back up the Pack 43 here. Note this is the early version where they didn't quite have the mount ready for it, so they had to make use of the same one as the howitzers, the LFH-18. Quick fun note there. It would later give it a sort of a mount a bit like the Flak 88, sort of a cruciform mount that could just allow it to spin around easily. Panther 4 there being salvaged for a bit of extra fuel. Scott there, I think, took a nasty hit from the Pack 43. Well, it's dead now. And certainly the 88 with a high velocity gun with the Pack 43 was quite efficient. fun fact, a few of the infantry divisions meant to sort of hold the line and normally were actually equipped with Pack 43s in their artillery unit because they couldn't get proper artillery. Pack 43 trying to turn around. There we go. We could see. Oh, there we go. Nice hit on the Jackson tank. So they can finish it off here. The Pack 43 is quickly proving itself to be valuable here for Thetaxman's defense against Preacherman, whose forces now are quickly running out. He's got no artillery. His infantry is starting to bleed dry as well, and he's got no armor either. So the question, of course, is how does Preacherman deal with this? Sturm Pioneers hitting the ace level there. 88 versus 290. Panzer IV with Sturm Pioneer support could go here for the M10 tank destroyer. And of course, you need to be mindful of the Pack 43. Oh, lucky they turned around right at the wrong time there, allowing the M10 to skirt through it. Still, he's almost got it. One more hit and that thing is dead. There we go. And with that, Preacherman is down just his infantry now, with his opponent still having, well, a tank. And with this, Preacherman retreats. The first Armoured was beaten. A brutal Armoured battle here on Vilshanka ended up in favour of the second SS Panzerdivision das Reich. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell your friends, tell your family, but don't tell your enemies. This is Imperial Danger. Cheers. Thank you for watching. You all a wonderful audience. Hope to see you all tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.